this is the agenda for a standard L10 meeting. And now, listen, you can run meetings all different kinds of ways, but the EOS model, which is Entrepreneur Operating System, taken from the book Traction by Gino Wickman. He also wrote Rocket Fuel. I know you guys have been reading that. L10s is just the format of how you get meetings done. And the reason why I really advocate for it is because I've seen it work amazing for Pete Vargas, for Pedro Adeo. I've seen it work for huge coffee companies and other people I've rolled it out with across different verticals and different industries. I've seen this format of meeting work simply because it holds people accountable. That's the main benefit I feel like that comes out of an L10. So this is the agenda each week. You come here and you come to 4 documents, and I'll show them all here, and I'll walk you through this, especially for the first few weeks. And then if you want me just to continue to be the one that handles these meetings for you, I'd love to continue helping that way. So for the agenda, you start with 5 minutes of good news, which is personal best, business best. I call this the human moment. Let's just talk and remember that, yeah, we're doing business. Yes, we're here to make money, but we're also here as people. So 5 minutes of personal best, business best, 5 minutes of good news. Then we go to what we refer to as the scorecard review. And what a scorecard is, a lot of businesses track by P&L, but it's a report that comes out at the end of every month, and then really a lot of times 2 weeks into the next month. So you're 6 weeks away from some of the real-time data, and a lot of times that's too late to shift. And so there's a lot of anxiety carried by many people in businesses, especially CEOs at the top, of how about real numbers? How about right now? And what that can generate is the request for a lot of knee-jerk reports like, hey, I need a report on this. I need a report on that. And a lot of times there's no real consistency. So it's hard to get the exact numbers they want in a timely fashion without throwing the team into pandemonium. So what a scorecard does is it allows us to track key metrics week over week. The value of a scorecard is, so if one of you guys goes on vacation and you're on the beach on some remote island, all you would have to do is pull up the scorecard and see how key metrics, key numbers are shifting week over week to see if there's a problem and see if something needs to be shifted or changed in the moment. I've given you an example here of how some businesses do it. This is just an example. Josh is the finance guy. Daniel is the sales guy. CEO, marketing, customer experience. These are some of the numbers they would track. Every business tracks a little bit different. I'll help you guys create what your scorecard should be, but this is just a wealth of value, being able to see real numbers shifting week over week. The next thing is rock review. Rock review, people call these different things, BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, whatever it is. You've set goals for 2022. And what the beauty of EOS offers is a tool that gives you quarterly rocks. Let's take this elephant, let's break it down into bite-sized pieces. And what are we going to attack to get us to the end of this year, 1 quarter at a time? EOS would say probably 3 to 5 company rocks, all owned by one person in the organization, even if they have to work with multiple players, because quite frankly, you want one throat to choke, right? If somebody can't get it across the finish line, you want one person to come back to. So even if Darren has to go and employ a bunch of other people to get him there, we want Darren to be the one that's accountable to get this rock across the finish line. And then each individual will have their own 3 to 5 big rocks. Rocks are just something that's probably going to take a few weeks, a week, or a month, or up to 3 months, a quarter to get completed. But once we drop a rock in here, we also establish key milestones. What are 3 key dates over the course of the next quarter that we're going to have check-ins on? Every meeting, we're going to ask you, is this, and here's the status, on track, off track, or complete? And it just gives us a good metric way to hold people accountable to big initiatives. It also holds us accountable to not rolling new big initiatives every quarter into us. But no, we made a decision. We want to be here by the end of 2022. How are we going to get there? Oh, this quarter, these are the big rocks. And then next quarter, we can add new big rocks. And so the rock sheet is awesome for seeing annual goals turned into quarterly goals. We then move on to customer employee headlines, good, bad reports. This is just an opportunity for us all to be in the same space, all to be in the same room, and hear how things are going with customers, good or bad, how things are going with key employees, good or bad, and have conversation around it. It takes about 5 minutes. We then look at last week's agenda, which pivots off of issues. So I'm going to show you issues first, and then come back and talk to you about what last week's agenda means. So an issues list is something that all of us are coming in and contributing to on the weekly. Essentially, it's intended to cut down on the chatter in Slack or in Teams or however you're using your instant message now. It cuts down on the chatter of people needing to walk into your office every 5 minutes to ask a new question. This is a spot for us all to come with our name, drop in our name, drop in the purpose, if it's to share info, need info, or there's decision needed, and then a time sensitivity. Is this critical or can it wait? And somewhere in between. Then you drop in the issue here, and we show up in the last 30 minutes or 60 minutes, however long it takes for your issues. We come in and we IDS it. We identify, discuss, and solve. So if Steve has an issue, he drops it into the sheet. We come here, he has to identify it for us all. We all discuss it as a team and we solve it. And the way that it's solved is it's dropped here on the agenda as a to-do. Now the to-dos have to be completed in the next 7 days. So by the time we come to a meeting next week, these to-dos need to be either done or not done. It's not, well, kinda, it's not, well, I've almost got it there. It's either it's done or it's not done. And if it's not done, no big deal. We can push it to next week, but any longer than 2 weeks, we need to drop it back to the issues list, because if you can't get it across the plate, we're going to need to employ somebody else to help. So it's a really awesome way to identify these are issues addressed in the company. We need to come up with a solution. This is the solve. This one person's going to own it. He's going to get it done in the next 7 days, and he's going to have to show up at the meeting next week and tell us, has he finished? Has he not finished? That's invaluable. People don't like to come to meetings and look like they haven't gotten their stuff done. So it seems really simple, but a simple to-do list, it really does work, and it really does move big pain points for the business forward. So every week we'll spend about 30 to 60 minutes in issues, and then we'll review last week's agenda. So we'll go look back and see, did you complete dones or not dones? Did you get your stuff? Did you get your to-dos done? And then we'll look at this week's list that's come out of the issues, and we'll make sure everybody's clear, and then we'll rate the meeting. So that's a succinct way of explaining what an L10 meeting is. I'll be there to guide you through it, but I think you're really going to enjoy it. Like I said, I've seen huge success for other companies, and I think it's going to be awesome for yours too. So